What's up peoples, this is Brandon here, and today we're going to create the synth heard at the beginning of Lights by Ellie Goulding. We're going to be using the Viking combinator patch from Blamsoft. Two of the main devices in this patch are Distributor and the VK1 Viking synthesizer. Let's go ahead and listen to what we will create in Reason. Just a quick note, this Reason session can be downloaded from Blamsoft's website, though you can also download the Viking combinator patch, which will be needed if you're following along. Link for both of those can be found in the description. Alright, let's go ahead and start creating our synth. Open up a blank Reason session and switch to the rack. In the rack, create a combinator, and load in the Viking patch. I have mine saved to my desktop for the convenience of this tutorial. Viking is a patch that already has all the devices set up, so we can go straight in and start making changes to the voices. Most of the changes we're going to make in each Viking are in the envelope section. This is how we're going to differentiate each voice and give our synth a little bit of character. Let's edit our first voice, which is labeled Viking 1. Switch the mode switch to dual LP and set the amount to halfway or 0. In the volume envelope, change the decay to 0.049. And set the sustain to 5.2. Set the release to 0.007. Now we're going to copy this patch over to the other voices and we'll make some small changes to each one so that each voice is a little bit different than the first. So right click on the first Viking, click copy patch, and then scroll down and paste that patch on Viking 2. Keep doing this for all of the Vikings. And when you're finished, scroll back to the top. Alright, so now we have the same patch loaded into all the Vikings, and we're going to make a few small changes to the decay, sustain, and release of the volume envelopes in each one. Our decay, sustain, and release is already in the general area, but we can give them some small nudges just to differentiate it from other voices. Do this to all of your voices, and once again return to the top of Viking. Alright, now we're done with our Vikings, let's listen to what we have. Scroll to where you can see the mixer and let's tighten up some of the panning. Bring the pans in so that they're sitting between the low 20s and the low teens. I'll go with -16, 14, -14, 20, 18, 16, -18, and 22. Now moving up to the Thors, these modifiers are set up to control different parameters of the Viking synths. So adjusting one of the modifiers on Thor will make these changes to each Viking at the same time. This is where our sound really changes. Let's adjust the cutoff to 53 and our wave to 28. Let's take another listen. Alright, one last change. Come up here to the combinator where we can see the combinator controls. We're going to turn the detune knob up to 14. There we go. Now we can start adding our effects. Now the synth is a little bit quieter, so we're going to add a compressor. Come to the bottom of our combinator, and in this blank space, right click and create a M-class compressor. And we're going to turn the input gain all the way up. Let's take a listen to that. Alright, we'll come back to that later if we need to make any more adjustments to bring up the volume. So underneath this echo, we're going to create an EQ. So right click on the compressor, go to our studio effects once again, and create the M-class equalizer. With the EQ, we're really going to boost the mid, so turn on param 2, put the gain at 16, and the Q at 3.2. We also want to turn on the low cut and the low shelf. Turn the low shelf frequency all the way up to 394.5 and turn the gain all the way down. Now let's take a listen. You can hear that made our synth a lot brighter, so let's listen to what we had before. EQ on. Next, we're going to add an instance of the echo, so right click on our EQ, go to our creative effects, and click on the echo. Right click on echo and go to reset device so that you have this init patch loaded in. First, adjust the dry wet to around 68%. And we're going to turn our ducking all the way up to 72%. Let's listen to what we have right now. Alright, so the delay is a little bit off. Let's adjust the delay to 1/8 time. And turn on ping pong and set this pan to -44. And while we listen, let's adjust the feedback to a good setting. Let's bump it up to 55%. There we go, that sounds good. Alright, next we're going to add the RV7000, so right click on the echo, go to our studio effects, and click on RV7000 Advanced Reverb. We're going to take this to the dry side once again, to about 18, so very subtle. We're going to put the decay around 103, and turn these up all the way. So let's listen to that with our reverb now. Alright, so we lost a little bit of volume here. Let's go back to our compressor and turn the output gain up to around 9.8. And listen once again. Alright, and there we have it. Don't forget you can download this Reason session as well as the Poly Viking Combinator from Blamsoft's website. Those links can be found in the description. Thank you guys for watching.